Hello, and welcome to this autumn-inspired yin yoga practice today. My name is Dr. Karina, and for the next 45 minutes, I'm going to be guiding you through a yin yoga practice really inspired by the season of autumn, with a focus on thinking about the energy of the lungs in order to make some space, making some space for ourselves to shed some of the things we don't need to bring into this season and make room for all the glorious things that are on their way. Today I have the absolute glory of practicing with the Ultimate Bundle from Calm Body. So I've got this exquisite olive mat, which is my favorite color, olive green. And I've got the bolster, eye pillow, blocks, strap, which we may or may not need, but it's good for you to have it handy. And also their beautiful blanket. We are going to start our practice wherever you would feel most comfortable. I'm going to stay sitting upright, but if you would like to lay down or recline back over your bolster or curl up into child's pose, just make yourself really comfortable. And as you're getting settled, just checking to see if you need to make a little more space for your limbs, or if you want to close down the eyes. That's it. And wherever you happen to be as you're starting your practice today, just beginning to notice the feeling of your breathing. Noticing the feeling of the breath as it moves in and out of your body. And while the breath is moving in and out of your body, see if it's also possible to begin to notice the feeling of where your body is making direct contact with the floor or the mat or your props underneath your body. So if you're laying down, just starting to notice the feeling of where your head is resting. And then moving down to the feeling of your shoulders and arms resting, the weight of your trunk, the pelvis, the legs, and your feet. And wherever you happen to be now as you arrive on your mat, we're going to start this yin yoga sequence with a couple of really beautiful reset breaths. So wherever you happen to be in your breath rhythm, start to exhale all the breath out. Taking an inhalation. When you get to the top of that inhalation, fill up a little bit more. And then exhaling for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll repeat that. Breathing in, filling up a little bit more, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, filling up a little bit more, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing in, filling up a little more, exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Take yourself through 2 more rounds of reset breaths. Correcting it, just let it flow. How do you feel after that? Do you feel like you've arrived? Great. So let's go ahead and start by making a little space through the front of the body. For this, you will need your bolster or whatever you're using instead of a bolster today, making some space on your mat, so clearing your props out of the way. We're just going to come into a reclined shape. So you can take your bolster back behind you and then bringing yourself to come and sit just directly in front, and then laying the spine back down over your bolster. And you can do anything you like with your legs. You might have the feet on the mat with the knees touching. You might have the feet together, knees open wide, or you might have your legs extended out long. And I'm going to take my arms up over my head to rest just above the bolster, to make a little extra space through the chest, the armpits, the throat. And we're just going to take our first yin shape here. If you feel like adding in another layer, whilst we're making that nice connection to our lungs, you could slip into a gentle 4x4 breath rhythm here. A 4x4 breath rhythm is exactly as it sounds. We take a slow breath in for a count of 4, and a slow breath out for a count of 4. And we repeat. As you're traveling through your 4x4 breath, just see if it's possible to let a little extra softness move down through your mouth and your jaw and your tongue. And we have about 5 more exhalations here. Now, the next time you're getting ready to inhale, take that inhale a little deeper, right down into the bottom of your lungs. Open the mouth and let all that breath pour out. However you've had your legs arranged, we're just going to start to lift and move, and we'll come into a rebound. So go ahead and move your bolster out from underneath your back and just clear it away so you've got some space. And then come down into whatever would be a really effortless shape for you. Often it's returning to the back, and we'll just take a reset here. So an effortless place for you to rest. Coming back to the feeling of where your body is making direct contact with the floor. And just noticing if a little extra space is now present through the front of the body. What do you notice about that? And then when you're ready to start moving, just walking your feet up onto the mat. We're going to make a little more space for the chest and the arms and the spine. And we'll come into a reclined twist. So go ahead and float your right leg up and cross it over your left knee. Pick up your hips and shift them a little extra to the right side of your mat so the knees can fall across to your left. Passively twisting and turning the spine. And then you can arrange your arms anywhere you'd like them to be. Recline twist will often, for people, create some kind of broad stretching sensation anywhere from the outer glute of the top leg up through the spiral of their trunk, even up into that right shoulder. Now, if you want to tuck your bolster underneath the knees or the back arm, that can be great for some people if you need more support from underneath. You might even choose to stack the knees together or find a different arrangement for your legs. Take the time you need to really feel into what your body is asking for you to do in terms of adjusting your posture. And then come back into that sweet feeling of breath moving in and out. As the weight of your bones surrender down into the floor. And we'll spend a little bit of time here. Sinking down into 3 more exhalations. And then slowly unwinding the shape. Check in with your body and see if you need a little movement after that. Slow and mindful. Sometimes a window wipe of the knees feels really good, or a soft hug of knees into chest with a little rock from side to side. And once again, then find a restful place to let that rebound before we take the other side. Your rebound can be any position you like, as long as it feels effortless, particularly for the areas you felt a lot of sensation in the previous shape. As you rest here, can you notice the movement of your rib cage behind you as you breathe? Sometimes we only think about the ribs moving forward and out to the sides. But if you slip your attention back beneath your body and the floor, can you feel that subtle press of ribs into the floor as you breathe in? And a relaxing of those ribs as you breathe out. Let's move into the opposite side. Left leg floating up and over the right leg. Hips shifting to the left. And knees falling across to your right. It's very possible this is going to feel different to the first side. So your bolster is there, your blanket is there. If you need to tuck things under these knees, go for it. If you need something under the back arm, especially if it doesn't quite meet the floor, that's a great way to support yourself in this shape. And as the sensations begin to show up, again, quite possibly from this outer hip through the trunk to the left shoulder, can you also meet yourself inside the stream of your breath moving? As we spend a little bit of time here. Does the mouth still feel soft, or has a bit of that jaw grip crept back in? It's a bit sneaky sometimes. Resting down into 2 more exhalations. Beginning to move out of the shape. Mindful movements being added in with however your body is asking for those to be made. And then again, taking a little time in the quiet and stillness of your rebound for that to settle, wherever that might be. Breathing in slowly and deeply. Breathing out slowly and completely. We're going to move down into the hips a little bit now, and you will need your bolster. You can do this over a block, but bolster is just so lovely, particularly the rectangular shape of this bolster. It's just so nice and supportive for the back of the hips. So grab your bolster, and then we're going to place that underneath the knees. You might already be lying down. You can just slide it underneath your knees, and then come back on down to the floor. And a little bit of effort will be required here, not too much. And we just want to bring that bolster up underneath the buttocks. So not quite the lower back, but across the flesh of your glutes. This is one of my favorite shapes for the hip flexors. It's called upside down dragon. It's just a really nice variation on the lunge version of this shape. So let's go ahead and start by elongating the right leg. So it'll be the right hip flexor that we're focusing on. And then we're going to float the left knee up in toward the body. Now, if you're used to this shape in a lunge position, this version might be a little mild for you, but that's okay. Even if we're feeling like a 1 or a 2 amount of sensation out of 10, this is still highly therapeutic. If you get a bit of a pinch between your hip bone and your thigh, what you might want to do is just take that leg a little out to the side so you move around that compression point. And they may not be flat on the floor, but can you invite a heavy feeling into both of your shoulder blades? As the floor and the bolster rise up to cradle the weight of your body so that you can sink down into them, smoothing out the breath, making some space through this whole thigh to psoas region that can get incredibly congested. And we'll spend a little time here. Imagine that you could literally send your inhalation down into the space at the front of your hip flexor, and then exhale down and out the leg through your foot. Have a try. Breathing in, filling up the hip area. Exhale down and out the leg. We'll take 3 more breaths here. On an exhalation, letting go of that left leg. And you can just slide the bolster straight out as you find your rebound. What I really enjoy is to slide it out from underneath the buttocks and let it catch the back of the knees. And then sinking down there and taking a rest. Heavy bones resting down into the floor. And you can come into the opposite side of that whenever you're ready. Bringing the bolster back up underneath your buttocks. Feeling into that support. And now we'll lengthen out the left leg and guide the right knee up in toward the body. Again, just taking care of any pinching or compression you can feel here at the hip bone. Making space for that by taking the knee out a little. I don't know if you notice this for yourself, but I often feel that the exhalation provides this ability to step down into the experience, like you're literally walking down steps into your own body. You could have a little try of that. Just notice that each exhalation provides a little bit more of a feeling of letting go and moving inward. This beautiful progression, breath out by breath out. And we have about 4 more exhalations left here. Releasing the leg. Moving the bolster out from beneath you. Whether you catch the back of the knees with it or you just move it completely out of the way. Heavy pelvic bones nestling into the mat. And just noticing what sensations are shifting through the body after that. How easy does it feel to breathe? And after all of that, you might really be craving hugging both knees into the chest, like you're quenching out those big, strong hip flexors. And then taking all of your time, all the time you like, to roll yourself over onto one side. And it might feel like a bit of hard work, but we're going to come up to sitting. So we're going to do just a couple more postures in this sequence that have got a really lovely targeted influence on the upper body. So all the tissue up around the lungs in the upper body. And it doesn't really matter how you sit for this one because the focus is on the upper body. So if it's not comfortable for you to sit with legs crossed for a period of time, open them out or kneel. One of my favorite ways to sit is to use 2 blocks. So I've got the 2 calm body blocks here, and I'm going to place them side by side like this on the mat, which it just is a little bit nicer than having 1 block. It's kind of like a little VIP seat. And this becomes a meditation posture. Very comfortable. So coming into Sukhasana. So this last posture we're going to play with is called graceful bow. And we're going to start by, I'm going to mirror you, taking your right arm and we're going to collect it behind the back. Now you can either just curl the right fingers in toward the side waist or the elbow. If you've got them in at the side waist, you could press your left hand in toward the right, or just collect the elbow and let the arms relax. So that will create a little extra tensioning over your right shoulder. If that's too much for you, don't include the arms, it's okay. If it is okay, then we're just settling into that, letting all your bones sink down into your seat, and then taking a soft inhalation. And as you exhale, we're tipping the head away from that right shoulder. So tipping the head over to your left. And the first place we're looking to feel something or targeting something is this right side of the neck. So this can be pretty congested for people as well. You might want to have a play with rolling the face a few millimeter up to the ceiling or a few millimeter down, searching for a sweet spot where there's sensation, but you're also able to breathe with ease. If you're not breathing with ease, that's the body saying, this is too much. So you want to find a place where you can back out of it a little bit. If you'd like to bring the 4x4 breath back in here, it can create a lovely point of focus. Inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 4. We have 3 more exhales here in the first part of graceful bow. And as you take your next inhalation, think about using that breath to help your head float back up on top of your skeleton. And part B of graceful bow is to now turn your head to your left, and then we let the chin come forward and down. So in this second part, as the head comes forward and down, we're just inviting the targeted sensation to move around a little more to the back of the neck. Some people still feel it quite strongly in the side of the neck, which is fine. And it might even start to shift into the tissue of the upper back, down this arm, anywhere in that region. Feel really free here to tweak and customize this for yourself by seeing what happens if you move the chin a little further to the end of the collarbone or more medial of the collarbone. You might even really enjoy the chin melting forward centrally over your chest. And we have 3 more exhalations here. Utilizing an inhalation to help your head float up and releasing your arms. Roll the shoulders around. See what little movements your head wants. And then you've got an option here to stay in your seat and let this be your rebound. Just notice the different feelings from side to side. And of course, if you would much rather lay on the floor and rebound, you can absolutely do that. So we'll take a little time to rest in between sides. take some extra time there if you need it, and come and join me by balancing out the opposite side when you're ready. So if you're coming back up to your seat, get comfy, legs anywhere you like them. And on this final side, we're going to take your left arm and collect it behind the back, fingertips to elbow or palms pressing together, or neither of those. Taking an inhale. And as you exhale, the head tips away from that left shoulder, tipping over to your right, inviting sensation into the right side, the left side of your neck. Having a play with some micro adjustments of the angle of your head. And the 4x4 breath is there for you if you'd like to come back into that while you're here. Flowing downward into 3 more exhalations. Gently riding the next wave of an inhale as your head floats back up. And now finally, let's turn the head to your right and let the chin come forward. Tweaking this one however you see fit. Flowing through 3 more exhales here. Releasing your arms, letting the head float back up. And just oil that out a little, however your intuition wants you to move. and we're going to take a very grounded rebound now that will become our Shavasana. So as you're coming out of this last shape of graceful bow, go ahead and collect all the things that are going to make your Shavasana really comfortable. I'm going to get my blanket and my eye bag, and I'm going to bring the bolster under my knees. The ultimate lower back relaxation. So making yourself as comfortable as you could possibly be. As you settle back into the floor, let's take a quiet moment to scan down through the back of your body once again. From the back of the head, slowly all the way to the feeling of your heels. And now as you sink further into your exhalations, let the entire back surface of your body melt even deeper into the mat. And we'll take a few minutes of quiet rest here together. Starting to bring your awareness back to your inhales, allowing them to grow deeper. And then offering a little movement in the body, some stretching of fingers, rolling of head, stretching of arms. And then starting to roll yourself over onto one side. And just rest there for a moment or two. Just taking a little moment here before you come up to sitting, just to feel the space you've made. The space you've made in your body, in your breathing, maybe even in your mind in this practice today. And then starting to gather yourself upright. And you can come into whatever gesture feels really kind of grateful and gracious at the end of your practice. I'm going to bring my hands into prayer. And we'll just take a breath in together and then breathing out together. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.